So far, Joe's simple oyster starter and Mark's classic lobster have been the judges' favourite dishes. Now they are making their ultimate romantic desserts. It's almost time for the judges to taste. Joe's Panna Cotta is setting in the fridge and her rose syrup is done. Time to make her pistachio biscuits.
Right, so I'm going to show you how to make my nice pistachio cookies that go with a sort of a serving accompaniment. It doesn't have to be with these panna cottas, but it's a really nice little touch.
She adds plain flour, caster sugar, butter and pistachio nuts to a bowl and brings together to form a dough.
I'm just kneading it so it just sort of really holds together. That butter's just mixing into everything. And then just roll into whatever size shape balls you want to, really. I mean, walnut-sized balls, I guess. And you can cook them just as biscuits, but I'm actually going to cut these out into little heart shapes when they're once they're cooked, while they're still warm.
I see where it's all going. A lovely, light, wobbly panna cotta, heart-shaped biscuits, rose petals.
This is the difference between the male and female cooking, I suppose, isn't it?
Chocolate.
The biscuits go into the oven at 170 degrees for about 12 minutes. Back to Mark's ultimate cold fondant, and it's time to make the chocolate mousse. He's started by melting 70% dark chocolate.
So we've got egg yolks here, which we'll start whisking to get some air in there. And then we've got a sugar syrup, measurements of sugar and water. And you want to sort of boil that up to kind of what we call a soft ball stage, which is around about 115 degrees. We're going to get some air into this, so always really important whenever you're doing stuff like this, don't pour the sugar straight into the egg yolks. You want to get, a bit of volume in here first, and then the sugar will go in and cook the eggs.
So it's like a cooked mousse?
Exactly. So there's no raw egg in this.
Mark slowly trickles the sugar syrup onto the egg yolks, whisking continuously until pale and creamy, and then adds to the melted chocolate.
Sabayon in.
Nice.
You do that first to kind of loosen the chocolate, really.
Yeah.
Because if you were to add the cream straight in there, because obviously it's cold, this will just go and seize up.
Set into a lovely...
exactly.
Once the chocolate and egg mixture are folded together, Mark adds whipped double cream, loosened with a dash of milk.
Half in. You don't need to fold it in delicately at this stage. It's like when you're making a souffle, you put the first 2/3 of the egg whites in to break it down. So therefore, when you add the rest, it kind of mixes in nicely. And you've got that beautiful shine. You can smell that bit of chocolate. It smells amazing.
Mark then folds through the rest of the cream and fetches his base and sea buckthorn sorbet. Now he's ready to assemble his fondant.
OK, so that's my base in there, so we can get rid of this.
Well, the hazelnut's not as powerful now it's chilled.
Yeah, absolutely, but you can still just sort of taste it.
Yeah.
With the praline base now in the bottom of the metal ring, Mark starts topping it with his chocolate mousse.
Because you've got that lovely texture, you just want to sort of spoon that in halfway. But here's the thing, you need to give it a bit of a... just to make sure it's got no air bubbles in there. And then just get the back of a spoon and just kind of make a tiny little gap for the filling, just to make sure that that's all up the sides there.
Right.
Because what happens sometimes, if you take the mould off and there's a touch of the sorbet touching the ring, it'll actually spill out, and you don't want it to spill out at all until they cut into it. So we'll just dig into there. And then you see the frozen...
Yeah.
Yeah? And you pop that in, and you need to make sure it goes dead centre.
Right.
OK? And then just push it down. You see, so it's going to be nicely in the middle. I wonder if you'd like to taste a little bit of this now.
Thank you. Oh, it's lovely.
It is.
It's really refreshing.
Mark ladles more chocolate on top of the sorbet before it's ready for the fridge.
Now, this is slightly odd. This needs to go in the fridge and set completely.
Right.
But before you serve it, you need to get it out and leave it to come up to sort of room temperature, otherwise that mousse is really solid.
Yeah. The actual filling in there, the buckthorn, will melt in the fridge.
In the fridge now, absolutely, yeah. And
but
then when you bring it out to room temperature, it'll go even softer.
Excellent.
So
Okay.
hopefully, when people cut into it, it should ooze out everywhere.
Joe's pistachio biscuits are ready to come out of the oven. She uses a heart-shaped cutter to cut into smaller biscuits.
And then served at room temperature or just warm.
They're really cute.
And with that, it's time to serve.
Whoa, look at that. Oh, that is really impressive.
Mark finishes his fondant with a grating of chocolate and a sprig of mint, whilst Joe removes her panna cotta from the mould.
And then I've got this syrup that's cooled down, so it's lovely and pink. And spoon it over the top.
Lovely.
A few crystallised rose petals and Joe is ready to go.
Lovely.
Three biscuits, heart-shaped biscuits.
Shall we?
Vanilla panna cotta, there we go.
Right. This is my ultimate dessert to end my dinner for two, and it is my cold chocolate and sea buckthorn fondant.
It's stunning. And my ultimate dessert for my special dinner for two is vanilla panna cotta with rose syrup and pistachio biscuits.
Amazing.
Time for Joe and Mark to find out which ultimate romantic dessert is perfect.
Shall I do it? OK, here we go. Are you ready for this?
I am.
Cold chocolate and sea buckthorn fondant. 3 votes.
Oh, no.
Which
that's
means
not
Panna
fair.
Cotta with rose syrup and pistachio biscuits. Nil point. Brilliant dish.
Thank you.
Very impressive. They obviously know what they're talking about.
The judges liked the flavour and fun presentation of Joe's Panna Cotta, but they were looking for something extraordinary to end the perfect dinner for 2 and were blown away by Mark's unusual cold chocolate fondant with sea buckthorn.